Cell death is a really important thing that happens in our bodies. It's something that removes harmful cells and unnecessary cells and keeps the number of the cells in our body in check. And it's also an important feature in cancer cell therapies. Some years ago, I discovered this really cool form of cell death, this new form of cell death that no one had ever described before. We call this compartmentalized cell elimination. And this is a death that we first saw in the tail of the worm. And this cell's job is to shape the tail of the worm, and then it dies when it's no longer needed. And so what's really fascinating about this type of how this cell dies is that it kind of segments into 3 parts as it's dying, and each part dies in a completely different way. And that's why it's compartmentalized. And so each part of the cell is going to tell us something new about how complex cells die. And so that's why we're interested in it. And so we've identified a number of genes that are involved in this cell death. And those genes have counterparts in humans, which is very exciting. And so this grant is helping us understand how these genes are functioning in this novel process. So once I started working with the nematode, I kind of fell in love with it and really appreciated it as a great system to study different questions. And so I did my PhD in nematodes, and then I decided to address a different question after that in my postdoc. So I've been a worm enthusiast for many years. We use a really powerful genetic system, so we can really get at what genes are involved in the processes that we care about. And in this case, it's how complex cells die. So my feeling is that if we can better understand the genetics, what genes are involved in this novel program of cell death, we'll have a better take genetically on how complex cells in general die in different contexts. And then it will allow us to perhaps develop targeted therapies to treat these conditions, knowing what genes are being activated or how they're functioning, turn on and off certain genes depending on what they're doing to the process. So I think that's one of our potentially big, albeit long-term contributions to the field. It's been really exciting discovering a novel phenomenon. That's a wonderful feeling, knowing that no one has ever described it before, and therefore the possibilities are endless. Whatever we discover, whatever we find is new. And that's just, scientifically, that's just a great place to be. We are a new lab, so I opened my lab in January 2020, and then COVID happened, so things were kind of slow. But I have a wonderful team. It's small at the moment, but it's going to be growing in the coming months. I feel really good about the fact that I've been able to give some research opportunities to some students or lab members who did not have those opportunities in their previous experience. They didn't have, the research doors were closed to them for various reasons. The opportunities weren't there. And so I feel really happy that I kind of gave them a shot, and they are amazing. And so it really tells me that, you know, there's so much talent out there, and sometimes we don't see it, or it's just people just don't have the chances that they need. So I'm really glad that I was able to give that opportunity to a couple of my people, and they're just superstars. I feel like it's part of my job as a scientist and a female scientist to give opportunities to young scholars, and I feel I'm doing that in my current job. So it's very satisfying. It makes me very happy. I've really loved my time at UTA, and I feel very happy to be bringing grant money to the Institute. So I feel like I'm helping do my part to make UTA a sort of a premier research institute. That's one of the missions of our chair, actually, to build the biology department and to bring UTA kind of to the forefront of research. And I think that a lot of us who are publishing nice papers and getting grants, we're all facilitating that. And it's very exciting to be at a university and in a department that's on the ascent. That's a really great feeling, because we feel that we're part of this change, and we're going to be making this place like a really great place. And so that's one reason I came here, with that vision in mind. So that's been really wonderful. So any work that we do to help that, it feels good to be a part of that.